Living the Life.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Living the Life, and here with my co-host Catherine.
And here with my co-host Asif, of course, and that would be strange if you weren't here after that.
How are you anyway? You okay?
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, but how are you? You had a good weekend?
It's been absolutely freezing and cold.
It has.
It's misty out there. Oh, it's not nice. When that weather drops, you just know that, we're in for a
But we're nice and
cold
warm
snap.
in here, alhamdulillah, and ready to start living the life,
Well, certainly
mashallah.
you do. Today we have a jam-packed show for you with some amazing guests. First up, we have Muslim Deaf UK organisation to tell us how they're breaking all stereotypes about them. Next, we have Just Cakes, who specialise in creating stylised cakes. And finally, we have the award-winning author and performer Jamal Khan to talk about his new book.
Wow, mashallah, lots of exciting guests here today. And of course, I'm really excited to meet them too. But first, we have a story about Syrians from Syria with the disabilities trying to get their story across. Let's take a look.
At this Damascus centre, young deaf-mute Syrians are learning special sign language characters to talk about the war. 21-year-old Riyad helped create them. He and his family were caught in sniper fire as they fled fighting, but he couldn't hear the shots and only realized what was happening when his relatives started falling around him.
In Syria, because of the war, we have invented new signs like Islamic State Group and shelling. There's a special sign for the opposition flag and one that means terrorists.
Officially, there are 20,000 deaf-mute people in Syria, but NGO workers say the real number is 5 times that. Today, Bishar uses a tablet to communicate when she doesn't have an interpreter. But when rebels stormed her neighborhood in Damascus in July 2012, she couldn't understand what was happening.
I was asleep, so I had removed my hearing aid. But as we were all sleeping in the hallway, I woke up when I sensed that people were moving around me and the ground was trembling. Nobody was explaining anything to me. I noticed that everyone seemed in a hurry. If they wanted me to do something, they would pull me aside.
Because of the war, exclusion is no longer the only hurdle they have to overcome. At checkpoints, misunderstandings can be dangerous, and rising unemployment makes life even more difficult.
Deaf people already face discrimination in the job market. But today, we're not even speaking about equal opportunities because there are virtually no opportunities left.
Thanks to this new vocabulary, deaf and mute Syrians can at last express their feelings in the midst of the conflict, which has killed more than 310,000 people in 6 years.
SubhanAllah, that's so heartbreaking to see that not only is Syria going through war as well, but obviously with disabilities as well. But alhamdulillah,
Using sign language, and of course that links us to our guests because we have more sign language now.
It certainly does. Our first guests are from the organisation Muslim Deaf UK. MDUK is what it's known as. It's the first national deaf organisation to support deaf Muslims in the development and learning of faith and culture. MDUK has pioneered to make Islam accessible to the deaf community in British Sign Language.
And recently, some members attended the MA graduation ceremony in October, and it's the first time ever in history that deaf Muslims have achieved the MA level in Islamic studies, nationally and internationally. Please welcome Khalid Ashraf and Awais Murad and interpreter Rahana Mahmood. Assalamu alaikum. How are you today? You well? Perfect. Mashallah, mashallah. Well. And of course, you are the CEO from Muslim Deaf UK, Khalid. How did that begin? How did you start getting involved in MD UK?
First of all, thank you for the invitation today. It's really warm in here, like you said. It's quite cold outside. So before I was the CEO of MD UK, if you go back over 20 years ago, I live up north and Awais lives more south. We bumped into each other, young Muslims, and we had similar knowledge and similar views on Islam, and we wanted similar for the deaf community. The deaf community were limited to information and very far behind on Islamic knowledge. we sat together and we realised we have to do something, so we set up the organisation, which Awais will tell you. We set up an organisation to educate on Islam. As families and communication breakdown within the home were causing big problems. But some have communication, but the problem is translating that Islamic knowledge and putting it forward. You educate through learning and through reading. You develop and you flourish through learning and reading and putting that information across. It was like mosques. Unfortunately, at mosques they can't sign, so that puts them behind for Islamic knowledge. So we kind of rolled our sleeves up and we set up a foundation called MD UK, and it's been running for over 20 years. And we started developing a deaf community with Islamic knowledge. And then recently, I mean, that's gone on for such a long time. I've recently been appointed the CEO of MD Muslim Deaf UK. So it was the start of a new beginning.
MashaAllah. Now, by setting up this organisation early on, the amount of inquiries you had coming in, it must have been really challenging at first in the beginning. How did you overcome them challenges, especially when you're short of funding as well?
So if we go back 20 years ago when we set up until now, we were limited, but we did as much as we could. We learned as much knowledge. We tried to go to a higher level. We decided to do the master's degree that would help us to expand our knowledge, would give us different views, broaden our minds. And we achieved that, thanks to Allah, and the future is much brighter. It's really helped us to expand and to pass on that information. It's a positive. But what does that mean? So there's a hearing community, and they always feel sorry for deaf people, feeling that deaf people are underachievers and they can't achieve. So I think we've proven ourselves and we've achieved something, and we're going to spread all that knowledge to everyone. So if we go back 20 years ago, we set up, and as volunteers, there was no funding whatsoever. We built it up from our hearts and our passion, and we've carried on because we believe the reward is from Allah. So we work for Allah, so the reward is much greater. We've carried on. We've had funding, we've had little bits of money, but we've left it there. We've never needed to use it. We've volunteered over 20 years and used our own expenses. And like I said recently, I was appointed a CEO of the organisation.
That's absolutely fantastic. But the first two ever deaf Muslims to complete an MA in Islamic Studies, I mean, that is an absolutely wonderful achievement. Khalid, how do you feel about that? What sort of feeling did you have inside you when you were given that award?
I was over the moon. It was just amazing.
MashaAllah, nice picture that.
Yeah, there you go, with the hat, university graduation hat as well, mashallah. Who's in the picture here? Is that the class?
Yes, all the MA students, yes.
Mashallah.
Well, at the bottom, there's lecturers.
And was it a 2-year course?
Oh, so on some of these students are BA and MA mixed. These are the MA students.
Mm-hmm. So is that why they're wearing different colours as well? 2 different coloured uniforms?
I believe so, yes. To tell you the truth, I didn't really notice on that day. I was quite nervous and there was a lot going on, and I'm really excited that I'd not really taken notice. It was important that we achieved that MA. It was important for us to be good role models for the deaf community so that in the future they could flourish and develop. I want to see them have brighter futures so that people that are not deaf could, instead of pitying them, we can actually prove them wrong and say, well, actually, our disability didn't make us lag behind. that we're only a linguistic minority, that's it, and we were able to achieve just the same. Also, when we teach the deaf, we're surprised that the deaf, they don't understand about Islam. They always check if we're right or wrong, all the questions, but we can, you know, instead of asking, the books are there, the knowledge is there, and we can teach. So we can teach them the right way. Well, from the Quran and the Hadith, our knowledge is from the Quran and the authentic Hadiths.
So with the younger generation now, what is the future plans in order for what you have learnt to spread even further afield?
Because I'm the new CEO recently, I am planning a new structure. So it's a long way to go. The planning is going to be difficult. We've got a wonderful team working together and planning together. But we've not decided, we're still working on it at present. Hopefully next year we will have something interesting. You can wait and see.
Inshallah. And for both of you, what are your hopes as well for the future concerning education? Is it PhD next?
Well, we'll wait and see. At the moment we just feel, yeah, maybe that MA was enough, but we'll wait and see the success. We don't know. Allah knows best. You know what our decisions in the future we can't really mention.
Mashallah, I can see so much barakah in your organisation as well. So, for all the viewers, the supporters and business owners that are watching now, how can they support this fantastic initiative that you have implemented in the organisation that's been running for the last 20 years?
Anyone who wants to support us can do through our website, which is muslimdeaf.org. That's it. If you look there, a lot of our work is on there. I hope businesses and more public members do support us. If you want to contact us, maybe we could discuss the services, we could have an agreement with you. So we really need businesses and we really need funding to enable our organisation to flourish and help us to decide our way forward. So we need the funding, we need organisations to fund, and we wanted to plan a trip to Mecca, so we were hoping that funding would help us to offer like yearly trips. It's important to offer Umrahs and Hajj packages, and to go to lectures. Oh yeah. So books on knowledge for deaf people. Deaf don't have many, and it's signed, so everyone has a book and they can get translated. So what we want to focus on, having the Quran translated into British Sign Language, or same as like people have books that are translated into different languages. Some deaf Muslims can access BSL. Oh, right, sorry. So that some deaf Muslims can access Islamic information in British Sign Language, so we want to translate the Quran into British Sign Language. So it's important that viewers and businesses do support us.
Inshallah, may Allah help everybody get together and also get the Quran translated into BSL. Very, very important thing to do. But just I love that sign personally. I love the sign MD UK like this, and I think it goes like this, Asif. I think it's that. Is that right, Khalid? Yes.
I wanted to ask one more question as well. I think it's very important to know as well that Muslim Deaf UK is open to anybody that's deaf, regardless of faith, religion or background. Is that correct?
We welcome all different nationalities and faiths. Sikhs, Hindus, Jewish, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, we welcome all. We've had a few that have, alhamdulillah, become Muslim, brothers and sisters as well, through Muslim Deaf UK. I noticed that you know sign language, well done. We need more hearing people, viewers, to get up and to learn sign. It's very important. And that helps the British deaf community. So deaf feel that they're included instead of being left behind. So like at home, at mosque, at community centres, please learn sign language. So at home you speak Urdu, Arabic, Spanish, French. But why not learn BSL, British Sign Language? It's a beautiful language, it's visual. I'm encouraging you all to get up and do that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, true. I mean, I love BSL, and I'm sort of like practicing my signing, but you know, I do need raw practice. But inshallah, you two can help us here as presenters. And
I need lots of help.
Inshallah, in the future we can sign even better.
Definitely.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming here today, and also signing and explaining about everything that you both do. Thank you. Yeah.
Any last words to our viewers that are watching?
There are other Muslim deaf organisations, but we want to just tell everyone we're unique as we're deaf-led. And also our team, they're all educated to a good level, to degree levels, and us too to a master's level. So we do dawah with rich information. Around 25 years ago in Britain, there was nobody doing any Islamic dawah. We were the first group to set up and to carry out dawah in the UK. So after we've set up, other organisations have set up, which is fantastic. But all the organisations are led by hearing people. It's not a problem. But we're one of the only few that are led by deaf. We're the only one that's led by deaf. I'm the chair, Khalid's the CEO. And the last thing I want to say, it's really brief. We really need your support. Please check our website, which is muslimdeaf.org, and don't hesitate to contact us. And thank you for your time. May Allah bless you.
Thank you. So, mashallah, a very interesting conversation today. Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, mashallah. But